time was cracking more and more, and the regions were becoming corrupted. It felt like a nightmare scenario, but I was wide awake. The road was consuming everything. I used my invisibility skills to make my way to the exit. I discovered that mosquitoes hated the lizard slime, so I covered myself in it from head to toe. There was no more rot on that side of the region. That meant the echo was near. The echo had taken me to the same region as before. I found some scavengers along the way, but these were more stronger. They had a karma shield protecting them. I could only go to the throne, there was no alternative. As I climbed to the top, voices in my head started speaking to me. There was nothing at the top, but as I descended, I realized there were rooms that hadn't been there before. When I left the room, the voices in my head returned, this time more intense. My powers were growing. This time, I was able to access some kind of mirror dimension, but that didn't mean I make it out unscathed. When I accessed this dimension, I was opening the gates to beings from another world. I couldn't afford to abuse this ability. The voices were much intense, but they weren't coming from inside my head. This time, the voices were real. When I saw this creature, I thought it would kill me instantly, but instead, it saw me as an ally. This creature knew my powers, it knew what I was capable of. Even so, I couldn't help but notice its resemblance to the Iterators. This creature was the one responsible for the world being overrun by rot. Yet, for some reason, it saw me as a cog in something much greater, far beyond what my eyes could comprehend. But even so, the creature still wouldn't give me the answers I needed. I had to keep exploring. exploring, I found this rift. Maybe something would happen if I accessed the mirror dimension. I had reached the region I couldn't access before, but with my new powers, maybe it would possible now. I let the wind guide me. I could hear someone familiar in the distance. By this point, I could already feel that everything was coming to an end. We were getting close to the conclusion of this story. This place felt different. There was a clear contrast with all the other regions. There was no danger here. Everything was calm, silent. I could feel peace in the air. We were in the final stretch. What? People talking? Wait a moment. It can't be. Is this a parallel store? I'm a little confused. No way. I finally reached you. The Ancients.
Before our world collapsed, there existed beings known as the Ancients, gigantic and incredibly intelligent creatures who walked on two legs. They built the Iterators, artificial intelligences capable of solving any problem. But there was one problem they could not solve: the loop, the cycle of life and death repeated endlessly. And the Ancients were aware of it. Determined to break this cycle, they eventually discovered the Void Sea. With this mysterious liquid, they built the cans, enormous structures that would become home to the Iterators. To function, these machines required unimaginable tons of water drawn from the ocean. As a result, the storms became increasingly frequent and intense. The problem escalated to the point where simply being exposed to the rain meant certain death, crushed by the sheer force of the downpour. Seeing the surface become uninhabitable, the Ancients chose to build their homes atop the Iterators' cans, where the rain could never reach them. But one day, tired of hiding above, they decided to descend into the depths and leap into the Void Sea, transforming into giant worms made of the void itself. According to their Buddhist beliefs, this was the only way to ascend and break free from the cycle of life.
Against all logic, I had traveled to a time when the ancients were still alive. Now everything makes sense. I had never been traveling through dimensions. I had been traveling to time. That explains why some regions were identical to others. When the ancients chose to ascend, they had to follow their strict Buddhist-like rules. One of them was to let go of every happy or painful memory they had ever experienced. Those who succeed ascended, but those who failed became echoes, beings trapped between the ancestral plane and the early one. The echo that had been accompanying me throughout this journey was an innocent child, forced to ascend with the others, only to end up caught between life and what lies beyond it. I know this place. It's farmer's, but it's intact. Everything was coming to an end. I could feel it. These were the 5 karma levels of the ancients. Here was where the ancients performed their rituals. At the end of the hallway, I could feel the echo, waiting for me, for last time. The echo would no longer be with me. This would be the last time we'd see each other. The final goodbye. The echo had already accepted his fate and was ready to face what came next. Even though the echo was terrified, he was willing to leave this world behind forever. There I was, in the Echo's room, completely alone. The adventure could end here, but there was still something left to do. I could stay here and wait for the road to consume everything, or I could step into the road one last time and uncover the true ending of this story. Now I can understand everything. It's not a loop, it's a spiral.